YouTube, what's going on? I'm back. So for those of you who do watch my videos, I'm back for vacation. As you can see, I'm also back in this crummy weather. I was coming from Texas where it was actually warm and I can actually see the sun. But now I'm back in Pennsylvania, where it might as well be the UK, because it's always gray out here and dull looking and not lively. But there are perks of, you know, living out here, so I'm not going to harp on them too much, because I do there are some positives that definitely outweigh the weather. So anyways, while I was away, I started realizing something. Being that this car was still here and I was driving my Navigator, I started to realize that, you know, I found myself looking for the the third pedal or the clutch in the car quite often after a few days. For those of you who don't know, I guess I'll briefly go over. I'm currently relocating, so there's definitely, I had to take a vacation in order to kind of get everybody squared away as far as schools and logistical responsibilities that I had to take care of. So, you know, I had the big bus, I had the big spaceship, so to speak, that I had to drive mostly to handle those chores, because I did not take this car, I left it here. And while I was doing that, I would say after like day 2, I found myself stomping the far left of the car, and I'm like, what am I doing? Or I find myself using my hand and trying to move it towards the middle. There was no gear shift there. So I think around the second day of me being back in Texas, was that I was getting angry again about driving, like going to go do chores and, you know, doing, like I said, the logistical stuff, like, you know, signing up for doctors, finding stores, new stores that we have to go to because we have to get acclimated, you know, within that area, and what, you know, the best way we see fit. So, you know, I was driving pretty much everywhere, and I started getting very, very frustrated because it wasn't fun, man. It was not fun. I started to get back into that mode to where driving became a chore all over again. And to me, it felt really bad, and I honestly couldn't wait to get back to this, or again my Miata, because I really wanted to drive a stick shift, and I preferred it. So you know, while I was on the plane yesterday, I started wondering, like, you know, why do I feel, you know, a little bit, I had like hissy fits, man. Like, I felt bad because I'm like, I'm a grown ass man having hissy fits about, you know, driving the car, you know, having to go somewhere. And you would think new area, you know, just going around looking at the sights and seeing how everything's changed would be fun. But dude, when the 8.6s that I saw out there, I was jealous. And I'll also, before I continue, shout out to the 2024 Trueno edition. I saw a red one. I was very jealous because I wanted to drive my 8.6 so bad. I wanted to drive that, or like I said, or the Miata. I did see an ND out there, and I wanted to drive that too. So, you know, I felt like I was having withdrawals about driving a manual. And fellas, it had only been a week. And sorry for the noise over there. It's a truck. I'll get in the car in a minute, and we'll finish this off with a drive. But I just came out here to get ice cream, and I have training the rest of this week, so you guys know where I'm at this point. But anyways, I felt like I wanted to get back in this car. And you know, I wondered to myself, like, what was it, you know, that made me want to just, that had me irking to get back into the 8.6, because I missed it so much, and I was just, you know, flabbergasted on how I even felt frustrated about driving an $80,000 Navigator, which, you know, thanks to depreciation, really isn't worth that much anymore. But, you know, that goes to show you that just because the price of a car doesn't really make the car, and honestly, it doesn't provide too much more than what a minivan provides. And now that I'm starting to look at it, you know, from a distance, because I don't drive that car often, but I felt bad, just due to the fact that I was driving that thing all the time, dude. Like, I really didn't like it. But last night, I think I landed in Pittsburgh around 11:30, and I had to grab some extra things from my older house that we had moved out of, just to kind of make sure all the important stuff was gone and whatnot. So while I was doing that, and I saw both my cars, my Miata and the GR86, I was ecstatic, and I couldn't wait. I was rushing, literally. I was rushing to get my stuff in the car and just get on the road, man, because I did have to come up, you know, to Maryland, because I was supposed to be in the office today, but I had gotten home way too late, and then I ended up just not being able to make it. But I wanted to take that drive because I was just motivated from the beginning of, you know, being able to drive a manual again. When I got back in here, it was instant gratification. I felt great. I felt like it's been years when it's only been a week. And when I got in here, it was, I mean, I don't even think I'm over exaggerating about this. I think it was like, it felt mesmerizing in a sense, because when, you know, it felt like I never left. Like, honestly, I have so much chemistry with this car that once the car kind of got warmed up, being that, you know, this was the following morning when I was on my way up here to the training facility, when I started getting into a rhythm with this car, or when it started warming up rather, the rhythm clicked instantly. Maybe after a couple of shifts, I felt right back at home. And that really taught me something. And maybe I'm going too deep into this, but I think it's warranted, and I think I'm trying to articulate it as best as I can on how this feels. It's almost like, for example, when I grew up, something that always made me feel really good, beyond, like, I think happy is more of a surface word for like how you feel. It's like there's another level to that, to where you just inside, you feel, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulder in a sense. I don't know what I'm exactly trying to explain here, but that's what it felt like. And when I got in here, it was instant, like I said, instant gratification, because this is what I like to do. And for me, when I was younger, basketball did that for me, because I grew up in not so great neighborhoods and not so great circumstances. No fault to the family. It's just, you know, you don't choose what family you're born in. You just make the best of it, you know. But you know, my escape, which everybody, when you're a kid, seems to have it. My escape when I was younger was basketball. And you never would have thought that some simple sport can hold so much value in your life until you realize certain things that you've done throughout your life, and you're like, man, if I would have done this, you know, X, Y, Z, this would have, you know, different circumstances would have turned out, or different results of your life, or different changes and decisions in your life would have been altered. You know, your life would have been completely altered if you made certain decisions that, you know, playing a sport stopped you from making because you were busy and you really liked the sport, you love the sport, you love the feeling that the sport gave you and the escape that it gave you when you were playing. And for me, like I said, it was basketball, and it was you know, playing my video games. I'm a huge video game nerd, and Pokemon. I was playing a lot of Pokemon as a kid because they had just came out, and you know, that was just the craze at the time. So, you know, and when I got older and I couldn't play basketball the way I wanted to, and I'm super competitive, so when I felt like I couldn't perform like I know I could, I needed a different outlet to release that ever-ending dopamine that you would need to kind of cycle your way through life. And to me, I was looking for that for a very long time, because I knew for, I would say, about 3 or 4 years that I just couldn't I couldn't work out like I used to every day. I had to find an alternative, because if I didn't, you know, I would be miserable. So for me, it turned into, you know, a couple of years later to, hey, I'm gonna just go get a car with a manual transmission in it, which I went back to a good old Civic. You know, I've had a couple of Civics when I was younger and loved them to death, and I forgot how fun they were. So I went to go get me a 10th gen SI. It was pretty cheap, and you know, I was in the market, so I said, why not? And that just awakened something in me that I never would have thought. I never thought that would awaken, and that was like, hey, I need to be. Once I started shifting gears, I felt great, and I think that it's just as simple as something that you can control and manage, because there's a lot of things in life, obviously you guys know, that you can't control, you can't manage it. But when you get in the car with an H pattern, or some of you with the sequential shifter, I don't know, there's a few of you out there that do that, but with a manual gearbox and feeling the need to feel the control that you would have while you're sitting in this car, it's second to none. And to me, it served a greater purpose of, you know, finding a whole different hobby that I could get into. For example, making YouTube videos about cars, learning how to work on cars, and also time attack racing and just racing in general. And honestly, that is probably one of the most revealing things about driving a manual to me was, it's not even about the car. It doesn't even have to be expensive, and it doesn't even have to go the fastest. I have 2 very slow cars that are manual, and by today's standards rather, and they're probably, and I'm not the only one that say this, they're some of the funnest cars you could ever have. And I think the reason being is one simple thing, and that's rolling through the gears. It's just an experience that is unmatched right now by anything that I do, as far as, like, you know, when I feel like I want to get that release and that stress relief, that instant stress reliever, it's just getting behind this car and listening to the engine. This is mesmerizing. I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know. But it's great. And I just wanted to talk to you guys about that today. And like I said, I'm back, I'm focused. I got a couple of track days, I think one track day in like 2.5 weeks that I'm going to try to make. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. It should be at the end of April, if I'm not mistaken, at Pit Raceway. So stay tuned for that. That'll probably be a video with multiple cameras. I'm definitely going to try to see if I can grab another camera next week, and get a pedal cam for you guys, so when I do get on track, you guys can see that. And let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment, subscribe. And for those of you who have for those of you who are new subscribers, welcome. And for those of you who are, I wouldn't say OGs, I haven't really been doing YouTube that long, but have been there from the beginning, I appreciate y'all, and I'm out.